Hey, and welcome to another Motocamp adventure video. Today I'm going to be doing a review on a Kelty Gunnison 2.1 tent. Unfortunately, I don't have my motorcycle. I crashed that if you are following my channel. Right now I brought my Cannondale Trail SL2 29er mountain bike. And I have a tent over here. So I'm going to set it up and show you some features. So first off, before I set it up, I wanted to show you the size of the Kelty Gunnison 2.1. Right now I have it packed mostly in this Sea to Summit event waterproof stuff sack. I suggest you grab these if you can, just for anything, honestly. They're very well made bags. I can stuff whatever I want into these things. I have two of them. They're great bags, but I'll do a review on those later. Right now I have everything else, the poles and the stakes in this bag. That's the bag that it usually comes in. As you can see, it's not very small. And just to give you some type of perspective in terms of size, I put my helmet right next to that, and there you go. That's about the size of my helmet. So there we have the ground cloth that actually doesn't come with it, but I'll annotate how much it costs separate. I think it's around 40 bucks. It's definitely worth it. You don't want your bottom of the tent to be all wet. I've got the poles there, the stakes there, that's the actual tent, and that's the rain fly. We'll go more in depth on each thing. Alright, so first off, let's talk about the stakes. These are not the rounded kind that you would get with most other cheaper tents, and I really like these. They are very well made. Straight from Kelty. You can see I bent one of them, but really you have to use a lot more force to bend them, and you don't want to bend them, obviously. If you really have any troubles with them, I would suggest you go get MSR groundhog stakes. They're kind of more triangular in shape, if that makes any sense, and they hold up a lot better. I think they're also titanium too. These aren't super light. I think they're aluminum, but still, they're way better than most of the cheap round stakes you get with most other tents. The poles that come with it are also pretty good. They're aluminum as well. They are not super lightweight either. Again, this tent is not meant to be an ultralight tent, and that's why it's okay for moto camping most of the time, because you're not hauling the weight yourself, your bike is. Anyway, I'll put these things together and then I'll show you how they attach to the tent themselves. Before I do that though, we should put the ground cloth underneath the tent first. I'll show you how that works. You're going to want to put the shiny side down. You can see that this is quite dirty from being on the ground, and you can see that this is a lot cleaner. You can tell which side is supposed to be up because these clips face a certain way towards the top of the tent. One thing I really like about the Kelty systems is that they're pretty intuitive. You can see that the ground cloth clip would clip onto this part here, and then you have this kind of ball detent thing there for the poles, and then later on you have these parts for the rain fly, and then you can just use these and put your stakes in the ground with that. Alright, so now I'm going to show you the pole setup. You can see that there's two different colors. They're actually color-coded, which is pretty awesome. Another intuitive thing that Kelty does. So you can see that they just kind of clip into each other. Nothing real special. You've probably seen it before with other tents. The center has this plastic piece here, which you'll see what that does in a second. So now you can see these are all put together, and they kind of have like a helicopter blade design to them. Pretty simple. Alright, so now that you have the poles together, you can see that this end has a ball to it, and that fits into this little detent here. Kind of just clips in. Let's see if I can do it one-handed here. Okay, yep, so it wasn't terribly positive sounding, but when you do it with two hands and you're not trying to film it, it sounds a lot better. And you can see that it kind of just rotates around within that, and it's able to pivot a little bit. It's a pretty neat design. So all four corners are clipped in, and from here it's relatively easy. You've got these plastic clips here and they just clip around and lock in place, and then you do that all the way up to the center. Once you have all those clips in place, you just go to the center, and this is where that plastic thing comes into play. So you want to make sure that little nub was pointed down when you put this together, and then this just hooks on one-handed. Ooh, this is difficult. Okay, I'm gonna have to just do this off camera. Okay, there it is, clipped into place. You can see that's pretty taut after you put all those things together. So the rain fly goes on as such. You have two top vents that can indicate the sides. These will be the sides of your vestibules. So this will be your center, obviously where the stitching comes together. So these side pieces work the same way as the tent clipped onto, or sorry, the ground cloth clipped on. We can see that it has same design, and it just has this end piece here that you clip it onto. Once you have them all clipped in, you can adjust the entire tent, go around the four corners and adjust these as necessary to make it taut. This is what it looks like, all nice and staked out with the tent fly on it. You can see that these ends have these corners to them, and you just stake out on these here. That allows for a lot more airflow, and you don't get all the condensation on the inside of the tent, which could make you a lot more wet. You can even go further and pull these out. I don't really bother. What's the point? Up here on the top, you've got these vents that you can open up from the inside, and that allows for a lot more ventilation, which I pretty much leave these open all the time, as you can see. And now I'll show you the inside of the tent. Just to give you some type of perspective, I unrolled my sleeping pad that I had previously reviewed on Motocamp Adventure. That gives you a pretty good idea of how lengthy it is. I'm about 6 feet, 5'11" and a half tall, and I fit in this perfectly fine. Now, although this is considered a two-person tent, I would say it's about one and a dog plus gear, or two without gear. You can see that there's plenty of room underneath the vestibule to put your gear underneath, whether it be your boots, your riding gear, whatever backpacking stuff. And you can see that the doors have this little thing that you can roll it up and put this out of the way, just so you can put stuff in and out easier, and you can get out any easier if you're going to leave it open, if there's no flies around. So they give you this little net. It's called a gear loft, and it's pretty practical. You can just throw whatever you want in there. There's a flashlight just hanging there. It's pretty nice to just leave your glasses or whatever up there if you wear glasses, or flashlight to illuminate the tent a little bit. Pretty standard in most tents, I think, and you just have to tie that in yourself when you get it. It's starting to rain here, so I'm going to do this really quick, but I really have no complaints about this tent other than the weight, but that's part of the price. I mean, that's what you get for the prices, and design and development process and all that stuff. I think this tent's been around for a while. I used to use these tents in the Boy Scouts, and they worked really well. They held up really well. This one has held up really well. Speaking of rain, this one held up awesome in the rain all the time. I've taken this one on multiple adventures, and I would recommend you buy one. I don't have a recommendation from where, but I don't get paid to buy this tent, so yeah, just look around and see if you can find one for relatively cheap. I'll annotate the actual price that I find. Thanks for coming on another Motocamp adventure video review. Hopefully you'll be on a bike soon. Take care.